Hi there. Wishes for a very blessed Christmas to you and your family. On behalf of my friend and co-founder Pradeep, the whole Talentees team, and on my own behalf, may the love, the joy, and the peace of Christmas fill your heart and your home. So, what reflection could we use for our Christmas season this year? I thought I'd tell you the story of the fourth wise man. We're all familiar with the story of the three wise men who followed the star, found Jesus in the manger in Bethlehem, and gave him their gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. But this is the story of the fourth wise man by Henry Van Dyke. You should try and read the whole story or watch the movie starring Martin Sheen. But here's a quick telling. The fourth wise man was Artaban. He too was a magi, and he too had seen the star. And he had sold all his possessions to carry with him his gifts for the king. 3 gems, one blue as a fragment of the night sky, one redder than a ray of sunrise, and one pure as the snow mountain peak at twilight, as the author would put it. A sapphire, a ruby, and a pearl. He sets off on his trusty horse, Vazda. But on the way, as he's passing an oasis, he sees an old man on the verge of death. Artaban is torn because he knows if he stops, he will be delayed because he's rushing to meet the other 3 wise men and for the 4 of them to go along. So here he knows that if he stops to help the old man, he's likely to be late. But he can't bring himself to leave the old man, so he dismounts from his horse, gets the old man some water, and because the Magi are physicians, he tends to the old man for hours until the old man regains his strength. And then Artaban gets back onto his horse and rapidly resumes his journey. But by the time Artaban reaches the meeting spot, he's too late. The other 3 wise men have left. With a spent horse and no provisions, Artaban knows he must sell his sapphire to buy camels and provisions to make the long journey across the desert. So he does that and resumes his journey. He reaches Bethlehem, but again he is late. It is 3 days since the wise men have come and left. As Artaban wanders the streets, he sees a young woman in her house tending to her young baby. He enters and asks her about the 3 wise men, and she says that the wise men came and gave their gifts to the child. She also says that they left in a hurry, and so did the child. The child and his parents also left, and it is rumored they have fled to Egypt. While they are still speaking, there is a commotion in the street. The air is rent with crying and wailing. The soldiers of Herod, they are killing our children. Now, of course, we know that this is Herod's plan to kill Jesus, that he is slaughtering all the newborn in Bethlehem. And soon a captain of the soldiers is walking towards the doorway of this house. Artaban strides to the door and his broad frame blocks the doorway. And he speaks to the captain of the guard. I am all alone here and I'm waiting to give this jewel to the captain who will leave me in peace. And he shows his red ruby like a drop of blood glowing in his palm. The captain greedily grabs the jewel and tells his men to move on. Artaban cries out, God of truth, forgive my sin. I have said the thing that is not to save the life of a child, and 2 of my gifts are gone. I have spent for man that which was meant for God. Shall I ever be worthy to see the face of the king? Artaban continues his journey to Egypt, but again his search is in vain. Year after year he searches for the king, with only the last of his treasures, the pearl, left out of the gifts he had carried. 33 years of the life of Artaban had passed away, and he was still a pilgrim and a seeker after light, worn and weary and ready to die, but still looking for the king. He had come for the last time to Jerusalem. The city is in a tumult. People are rushing here and there. They tell him that they are heading to Golgotha, where an execution is to be carried out. two robbers are to be crucified, and with them Jesus of Nazareth, who has been condemned by Pilate because he claimed to be king of the Jews. Artaban's heart beats faster. Could this be the king that I have been searching for all these years? Wearily, he makes his way to the Damascus gate of the city. But as he walks, he sees a group of Macedonian soldiers dragging a young girl with torn clothes. As the girl sees him, she tears herself away from the soldiers and pleads with him to save her. She tells him that she is to be sold as a slave to clear the debts of her father, who is now dead. Artaban trembled. This was the third trial, the ultimate probation, the final and irrevocable choice. One thing only was sure to his divided heart: to rescue this helpless girl would be a true deed of love. And is not love the light of the soul? He took the pearl from his bosom. This is thy ransom, daughter. It is the last of my treasures which I kept for the king. Suddenly there's an earthquake. We know that Jesus has just died. And as the earth shudders, a tile falls and hits Artaban on the head. As he lies there dying, with the girl bent over him, she hears a sweet small voice talking to Artaban, and she sees Artaban's lips moving in response. Not so, my lord, for when saw I thee hungered and fed thee, or thirsty and gave thee drink? When saw I thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed thee? When saw I thee sick or in prison and came unto thee? 33 years have I looked for thee, but I have never seen thy face, nor ministered to thee, my king. He ceased, and the sweet voice came again. Verily I say unto thee, inasmuch as thou hast done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, thou hast done it unto me. A calm radiance of wonder and joy lighted the face of Artaban like the first ray of dawn on a snowy mountain peak. One long last breath of relief exhaled gently from his lips. His journey was ended. His treasures were accepted. The other wise man had found the king. What a beautiful Christmas story. It remains one of my favorites. There are 3 lessons I take from the fourth wise man. The first is that Christmas is about giving. When we give to and care for our fellow human being, we give to and care for God. That is all he asks. Real giving is giving not just out of our plenty, not just when it's convenient, but to give even when it hurts. I think the second lesson is about the difference between pilgrims and nomads. They're both wandering, but I think nomads sometimes settle down, pitch tents. They can get distracted by passing fancies, whereas the pilgrim is focused on her goal. She does experience temporary setbacks, but she's focused on fulfilling her life's purpose. The final lesson is what Father Henry Nouwen spoke about, that there's a difference between successfulness and fruitfulness. Success is about strength, control, respectability, but fruits come from weakness and vulnerability. But in the final analysis, it's fruitfulness that outlasts success, fruitfulness that gives lasting joy. If you look at Artaban's life, it was a failure. He had not achieved his goal. With each supposed failure, he actually was fruitful because he inspired hope, he gave joy, he gave life. And I think that's a great lesson for us. Can we make our lives not just successful, but fruitful? So, on behalf of the whole Talent East team, let me wish you a blessed and fruitful Christmas and New Year. God bless you.